It's kind of fun when a brand gets all growed up. I got a flashback to 2016. I was shopping a new laptop. I wanted a touchscreen, a dedicated GPU, and Thunderbolt 3. There weren't many systems that ticked all of those boxes, at least not at crazy high mobile workstation prices. Gaming laptops were the gig, and it was a tight choice between an MSI and a Razer. Back in the day, I liked the more MacBook-like build quality of the Razer better, and I was pretty happy. One of the most refreshing trends over the last couple years has been the pivot from brands that built up reputations on gaming laptops making more workstation-style portable computers. Using the MSI Creator 15 for a couple weeks, this brand is unrecognizable from those gaming MSIs of years past. This is a refined, stylish, sharp PC that feels like it was built for grown-ups, and is still plenty capable for having a little fun when you're off the clock. I'm not even going super fancy here. The folks at MSI sent over the base model Creator, price as reviewed, $1,599. Portable computers are in a state of transition. I've been saying for years that smartphone-style ARM processors are plenty powerful to handle consumer laptop needs. Literally, 2 years ago, I even made a video for it on Newegg. The PC junkies there didn't much go with me on it. Techies are terrible at anticipating future trends. I'm pretty much awesome. There's been a lot of noise about a certain company using their own native SoC on a surprisingly reasonably priced laptop. It's exciting to watch how these products evolve, but I still think it's critical to define product categories, where MSI has built more of a mobile workstation here. Someone wanting the thinnest and lightest probably won't dig on this form factor. Likewise, someone needing a combination of powerful CPU and powerful GPU, plus features built in to minimize annoying dongles and adapters, probably should be shopping more in this space. It's not difficult to demonstrate a CPU advantage looking at a benchmark, but that doesn't paint the whole picture. It's cool how the M1 dominates Geekbench, but I don't work in Geekbench. We should expect Apple to pull out victories in CPU-bound tasks. I'm not trying to write that off. I'm the ARM laptop guy. But while we watch this laptop transition, we should keep an eye on holistic product reviewing. And performance is a bit more nuanced than a single Geekbench score. I cut video in DaVinci Resolve. This laptop is called a Creator. I have a consistent video render test that I also run phones through, and we can use my Ghost Canyon Nook as an example of the hardware that would have been in a $2,000-ish laptop last year. My video render test takes 6 UHD clips shot from my Panasonic, cut down to a 1-minute project with transitions, a watermark, and a soundtrack. We render this down to a decent YouTube quality, and then we time how long the render takes. If we were only concerned about CPU performance in the Creator space, the MSI Creator probably would not look very impressive. 1:30 to render a 1-minute file is not great in this day and age. We shouldn't be surprised that a 10th gen Core i7 is outperformed by a 9th gen Core i9, different tiers of products. But the Core i7 here is also handily outperformed by 2019 smartphones. Outputting roughly the same quality, an LG V50 finishes in 54 seconds. In KineMaster, and a V60 is even faster. But flip over to GPU compute, and that render time looks a lot different. The RTX 2060 leaps into action and even takes a lead over the 1660 Super in my Nook, while easily outpacing my fastest phones. It really is incredible how well Resolve leverages GPU power. I've been using it for a while. It's still like magic to me. We can also talk a little bit about gaming, and it's handled well. It's interesting how there is a subtle but clear line between this Creator and a gaming rig. The horsepower is there, and the GPU saves this from being a mediocre experience. I don't do extensive gaming benchmarks, but I fired up Control again, intending just to check frame rates at the beginning of the game, and then maybe I played for a couple hours. Again, it's such a good game. Cranking everything up to the max, firing up that pretty ray tracing, this is not the kind of system to handle that load. But with DLSS, we're able to keep frame rates in the high 40s in combat sequences. A little judicious tuning, and most games should easily hit playable frame rates with few compromises. A brief word on audio. The speakers are solid, clear, and nicely articulate. I could do with a touch more bass, but I like how the mids come through, especially for guitars and distortion. I'm always a little nervous when a company touts high-res audio, but we're in pretty good shape here. The DAC on board puts out a respectable signal with a low noise floor, and the amp can power through some thirsty cans. We're right on the edge with my DT770s. I could use just a bit more oomph, but nice studio monitors and gaming headsets alike should be well supported. I, of course, have a few concerns. I always do. This is high-performance PC hardware crammed into a reasonably sleek frame. Even for the Creator not being an ultra thin, the design is built around some solid active cooling. There's almost always a gentle fan hum. The system never runs perfectly silent. Running a heavier load, those fans put out a lot more noise, but thankfully they don't have the same high-pitched jet engine whine that my old Razer had. For this impressive cooling hardware though, the system can run warm to the touch, especially under the keyboard. After that extended gaming session, I could feel it under my fingers, and I already have kind of sweaty paws. This cooling design also impacts where ports are located. They're pushed forward on the chassis, and that might influence where you might put a mouse or other accessories. And lastly, I know chargers get bigger for more powerful laptops, but I was kind of spoiled by my Razer brick. MSI blocks always seem larger than they need to be, and that's super nitpicky, but it does matter to folks packing a bag to use these machines on the go. But that's where something like the Creator makes the most sense in my brain. When I was covering trade shows in person, I wouldn't take a laptop out onto the show floor. I'd shoot my footage and then run it back to a hotel room, and I would get my video editing done there. The Creator gets respectable battery life for the thirsty components inside, but it's not really a system to judge by how many movies you can stream on a single charge. While using a word processor, I can get almost 9 hours of runtime. Yeah? But this system drains a lot faster when you really tear into it. It's not as casual a carrying compute solution. It's a get set up and get work done kind of rig. And that's the hook. We try to abbreviate the review conversation. Here's a Geekbench score and some gaming measurements and a nitpick on the keyboard. I give it an 8 out of 10. But the lifestyle matters too. This is a sweet time for laptops, in the middle of some disrupting tech, but we're still able to shop solutions that might be a better fit for someone's individual needs. I work out of video editing software that really likes tapping a strong GPU. I work out of cameras that have memory cards. I work in hotels that often don't have great Wi-Fi. I work with good audio on professional headphones. I prefer the combination of a dedicated function key row and a touchscreen. And when I buy a product for professional creators, I like having some room to grow. The Thunderbolt and USB are fine, but easy RAM and storage upgrades are a nice perk. I prefer to spend my money on products that accommodate my workflow with a minimum of adapters, dongles, and extra accessories to buy. And come on, a 2TB SSD does not cost that much, especially on a system where you can't upgrade or replace the SSD. That seems a little gougy to me. Creator-focused systems have become my favorite category of laptop, taking the power I enjoy from gaming rigs, refining the aesthetic for a more sophisticated look, and maintaining the ports I actually use to get my work done. MSI's solution here is a compelling option with some flexibility for folks that have specific needs. It's not to tell you how to spend your cash, but if your focus is on photo and video work, I'd maybe recommend spending more on one of the variants with the 4K display. It's a jump in price, but also starts you off with more RAM and storage to help balance that price hike. The curious option is the model with a 144Hz screen. There's only one version that I can find offering that display, and it comes with the weakest GPU of the series, an NVIDIA 1660 Super. I can't find any other pairings on the MSI site. The 1660 Super is a fine GPU. I do use that in my Nook, but faster refresh and a beefier GPU just seem like a better idea in my brain. But it's an area we can point to, highlighting that this isn't a gaming line of laptops. The bread and butter combo of the Creator line is what I'm using here: 1080p touchscreen and an RTX 2060. I don't think I'd recommend this for folks doing a ton of photo editing unless you're likely to pair this with an external monitor. But on the whole, we're picking the right power for an attractive price. A machine that genuinely does everything well, and the price is focused more towards creators than gamers. Holistically, it costs less than something like my Nook, and it can outperform that box when focusing on the applications I use to get my work done. I like this direction from MSI. I want to see more of this. As always, thanks so much for watching, for sharing these videos, and subscribing to the channel. That sharing is really important. Supporting your favorite content creators has never been more critical than it is today, so I greatly appreciate those of you who really do. Look down below the video, check out those links, maybe shop a little merch. That kind of stuff really does help keep production rolling on my channel. You can hit up SomeGadgetGuy.com for a full list of all of my affiliates and partnerships, or you might consider joining the list of names scrolling by on your screen from my Patreon, patreon.com/SomeGadgetGuy. This is a collection of basically the coolest tech pals on the internet, so I hope you'll check them out. Now, you know where you can find me around the rest of the internet, at SomeGadgetGuy on the Twitters and the Twitch, and the Facebooks and the Instagrams. And I will catch you all on the next review.